Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Me as Well. So, today on my episode, I don't have one guest, but I have two guests. They are colleagues, but also very good friends of mine, and I truly admire their friendship. This is why they're known or referred mostly as Batman and Robin or the Chuckle Brother. So, but what really inspires me when I see these two guys is how they're trying to impact the world around them and also along their personal journey as well. So today with me, I have Brian and Liam. Hi, guys.
Hi, Amir.
Hey Lamia, how are you?
Good. How are you feeling?
Good. Not nervous because I obviously know you already. So yeah, I feel relaxed.
Glad to be here in a professional studio for once.
Yeah,
Thank you for
thanks.
your time, guys. I know it's always very busy during the weekend and the weekdays, but I'm glad you guys are here. So, with my episode, what I like to do when I have guests on, I like to know their early years because I think this is something that truly impact our lives. So, tell me a little bit more of your early years and how did you both met each other and how that friendship grew over the years.
How
I'll let
long do
you
you
start.
have?
Go on, Robin. You can start.
I am not Robin. I suppose what led me to Dubai, like from my early years, is I've always been somewhat independent, hyper independent from a very young age, and my mum always allowed me to do and always allowed me to do what I wanted, basically. Didn't put any kind of limits on what I was capable of and always backed me all the way. She gave me a lot of responsibility from a young age. We always saw eye to eye. Wasn't kind of necessarily a typical mother and son relationship. And as a result, I've always kind of felt like that no matter what I do, that she's backed me. So it definitely led to me not having any fear when making a move halfway across the world after studying psychology and not pursuing it as a career. Having no restraints of what my capabilities are because I've seen what she's done. Pursued a career for 20 years and then just followed her passion when she was in her mid-40s, went back to university whilst raising 4 kids. So it instilled in me the confidence that I was able to do what I wanted, regardless of I was defined by, what people knew me for, how I was raised, my background, my upbringing. And she instilled that confidence in me to basically do what I want with my life. And I know that she always backs me all the way. So I feel like that's the short form version of my early years and how it's brought me to where I am. And then I'll leave it over to you for your...
What's your early years, Liam? Go on, tell me.
My early years. Yeah, I suppose what led me to being here. Kind of after college, same as that too. I just did a business degree in business management. And as broad as that is, I kind of wanted to get as much experience as I could do in as many different industries, many different countries as I could. So I was working in London last year, and Brian was over here 7 months at that stage, though. 7 months at that stage. And he kind of said it to me, would I be interested in coming over? Absolutely, try something new. So that's pretty much all it took to get me over here. Is just a question and a chance at a bit more experience. But yeah, absolutely same as Brian said. Like my parents always backed me all the way with whatever. I was kind of always given the free rein to kind of go where I please, to kind of find my own way. So yeah, this is city number 4. Of I don't know how many to come, but it's definitely city number 4 so far. Yeah, but that was pretty much it. Behind the move, we're just trying to get to a new city, get more experience, more life experience, more professional experience. And yeah, being over here at Brian makes that bit easier too. So
Yeah, and that's what led us to meet each other. We both met 2 years ago now. We traveled the US together. We hadn't known each other, just from mutual friends. We actually met on the flight over, in the airport on the flight over, and then spent 3 months together, 2 of which we shared a bed together. But I mean, that's a rabbit hole we don't want to go down.
Well, if you guys didn't know, they did share a bed together.
Brian
That's
has
how
his trauma, and
this
that
is
2 months
how
is mine.
strong their friendship is, that they actually shared a bed together.
But,
We're not going into details.
Yeah, you
Crazy.
don't want to get into specifics.
Crazy story that even on even on the flight over, there was 4 of us, all booked 4 separate tickets, 4 separate times, and we ended up with the 4 seats next to each other.
Yeah, that was such a coincidence.
Such a coincidence. Still trying to wrap my head around that. So
Yeah, that's where we met, and we definitely really, like, I always resonate with guys who I feel like are somewhat similar to me. It's hard to define what it is within a person that makes you click with them. The way that I like to say it is they've got their head screwed on. You know, they know what they want in life, and they understand the realities of life, and that it's not going to be handed to them. They've got a bit of an edge to them. And yeah, me and Liam connected in Chicago.
And I think you guys complement each other very well, because I know you personally, so I know you both are quite different, but yet you still manage to complement each other. Is that a struggle sometime?
not at all, really, to be honest.
Not really. Like,
I think it's the fact that we're both always just ourselves. So when Brian's intolerable, it's just I'm the freshness that comes with it, you know.
yeah, I think a true friend brings out the best in you, and I think you are the truest form of yourself around them. Like, you know, you've got a wall up with some of your colleagues, you've got a wall up with some of your clients or people that you've just met. I mean, if you just met somebody in a shop, you're gonna have a wall up, but when we're together, no barrier, no wall up. I'm just completely myself. And yeah, Liam brings out the lighter side to me, because
it's not easily done.
So he does. We do complement each other, and then I help him however he needs help.
However he may need help.
Yeah.
No, yeah, absolutely. As I said, I bring out the lighter side in Brian, and he probably brings out the more serious side in me, gets me to knuckle down when needs be. Not by him telling me to do it, it's just him being around him and him as a person. So yeah, absolutely. Even for if other people can see that we complement each other, I definitely know Brian's personality complements mine. So yeah, it's light and breezy.
But I must say it's nice that when I see you guys together, because this is one thing that I spoke to a lot of friends. When you move into Dubai, very often you're lonely, because obviously you leave your family, your friends, and then you start from scratch basically. And having like kind of that anchor by your side to be like, oh, that's home. It feels almost like reassuring that, okay, I know that whatever happens, I have someone to rely on. So I think this is really beautiful when I see that between you both. I mean, obviously there's ups and downs, but at the end, you're still here for each other.
Yeah, absolutely. And we definitely do take it for granted. I definitely do anyway, because I didn't have to do any time over here by myself. But yeah, definitely take it for granted how easy it is having someone there. Like when do you ever see one of us without the other one tagging along or not too far away? So yeah, 100%. You kind of need to just give yourself a reality check sometimes too, and just be like, it is so nice to have someone here. Yeah, it makes that much easier.
Yeah, and I've had the other side of it. I've had time here without him, and I think in lonely periods in your life, like, it's only hindsight that shows you it was a lonely period. But it would have been about 6 months living by myself. I feel like in Dubai, everybody can be so focused on doing their own thing, you know, making their own money, like, following their own path, their journey. They forget to. Well, I forget to connect with other people. And yeah, I went through a lonely period of like 6-7 months of just doing my own thing, and I thought I was fine. Convinced myself I was fine, but it's only having somebody else around, having a good group of friends around. Can I point to that as a lonely period and point to how I felt and the difference between how I feel then and how I feel now?
Okay. So, guys, there's actually something I didn't tell you guys. When I started the podcast, it's because Brian was an inspiration to me. He started his podcast. When did you start?
August 23.
He started his, and then I was so inspired, and I was like, oh my God, why am I putting this away? And I remember we had this conversation, and you were like literally telling me, just do it. And my beginnings with editing, I must say a big thank you to this man right here, because because he took precious time during his break time to actually sit with me and teach me everything that I needed to learn to be able to edit an audio podcast, because I'm not gonna lie, I'm bad with tech, I'm bad with math. But thank you, Brian, for that. I truly appreciate that.
You're welcome.
But this is, I think, something that I want to understand. You started the podcast, right? What drove you into starting that podcast?
So the podcast initially started as the Dubai Real Estate Playbook, and the reasoning behind that was I was trying to fill a gap for my old self that didn't have something that I required. So when I decided to make the move over here and pursue a role in real estate, I began by trying to take a look online to see what was out there for me to better understand what it would take to be a real estate agent, what to expect on a day-to-day basis. And what I found was, Dubai Bling, like all those kind of shows, like podcasts that were made by companies pushing their own agenda that were incentivized to big up the real estate market, the role, because it felt like to me that they had a hidden agenda, that they were incentivized to try and sell you the dream to get you to come over. So I understood, like, after I'd say 7 months within the role, I was like, there has to be something to be done here for the new joiners. And I felt that I'd built up sufficient proof for me to be able to speak about what it takes. So that's what kind of born the idea. So the first 21 episodes were essentially how to be a real estate agent in Dubai. If you're a first timer, if you're thinking about moving over, no hidden agenda. I'm not selling you a property. I don't care if you're interested in buying property. It doesn't serve me. I don't want you to join my company. It makes no difference to me. Just putting it out there without any expectations of receiving, and just to just kind of follow something that piqued my curiosity and create something through that creative process and see what that felt like. And it took a lot of that, filled my cup 100%.
And I really like it because, like you said, most of the time when people, they talk about real estate, it's all about selling sunset, the Bibling. And I like it because in your episode, you actually talk about the real stuff, the real deal, and what it's actually like to be an agent and what's the reality and all the sacrifices that comes along. So I really like that, guys. I would recommend to listen to that, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Anyway, afterwards, Liam, you came to Dubai and you decided to join the podcast.
Yeah, absolutely.
So-
That idea was we were just sitting on the couch one evening, really, kind of spitballing ideas. And we came up with a few bits to kind of then just almost led into the podcast. And then obviously, I'm not sure if that was before or after I was on kind of as my first episode, as a guest / potential co-host at some stage. But yeah, it's kind of just gone on from there. The kind of plan that was when I came in was to try and just interview as many people that, in whatever their sense of the word, was successful, or a high performer, and just to speak to people that were really performing at the top of their game, no matter what their industry, no matter what they're doing, and just kind of figure out what they do differently, or what are their non-negotiables to life, and how they got to where they were. So yeah, that's really the aspect that I think it took when I joined. It's not as easy to find people to come on, high performers, as you may think, because high performers tend to be very busy.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's the reason it started. Like, we rebranded it to Playbook, and then after a while, we got a few guests on, a few people that we knew. We were just trying to speak to people that we were interested in speaking to. And then we just started speaking to each other just about everything and anything within real estate. Without it, the main thing for us as it kind of grew, we were just letting it kind of ebb and flow through the natural kind of progress. What were we interested in? What was front of mind? And what it serves to us is like a timestamp. So, like, we were talking about this last week, that, through any endeavor, you can see a before and after.
Yeah.
So, like, let's say a body transformation. You can see a clear photo before and after this person did X, Y, or Z. Same with financial gain. Like, this is my bank account before, this is my bank account after. you can't necessarily see the before and after of your brain, your thoughts, how you were feeling, what you were speaking, what stories were you telling yourself. So that's what the podcast serves as us. It's like we can go back a few months prior and be like, okay, is this valid? Are we still thinking this? Is this something we've changed our opinion on? You're time stamping exactly what you're thinking, what you're talking, what you're feeling in that period of time. And if all it serves for us is a timestamp for what we were thinking, feeling, and talking about, and so be it.
So, do you think this is the purpose of your podcast, and this is what you guys are trying to aim, or what is exactly the aim goal, I would say, around the podcast?
We were asked this question a few weeks ago about kind of like what was the goal of the podcast, and like there had to be a result we were trying to get out of it, and we were trying to explain to the person that there's not, like, we're doing it because we enjoy to do it, we're doing it because we enjoy to have the conversations, and it lets us delve deeper into what I'm thinking, what's Brian thinking, bouncing ideas off each other, and as Brian said, going back and listening to them. Because every idea you think you have at a time, you think, oh, that's a great idea, and you go back and listen in a month's time, it's like, the fuck was I thinking?
Yeah. There's been so many of those times, and we're doing it for doing it, not for where it's going to get us, or what it's going to get to, or what it's going to grow to. Just a creative pursuit, a passion project. And yeah, there's so many times where I look back and I'm just like, how did I think that? How did I talk that? Okay, that thought didn't serve me. Like I look back and reflect on some episodes of the podcast when it was just me on it, and I was talking about, intrinsically deep down, I don't feel like if I was left in my own devices, I'd be very lazy. Deep down, I'm not a motivated person. Like, those are the stories that I told myself, and those stories did not serve me whatsoever. Because if at any stage I did something, like I did an achievement, like let's say I did the half marathon, I couldn't take pride in it because I felt like, well, deep down, I'm just a lazy person. Deep down, I'm just an unmotivated person. I couldn't accept and acknowledge what I had accomplished, and I always had imposter syndrome. And I never really felt like I was the person that I was. But then as I understood and kind of worked through that idea, that was a story that I was telling myself that didn't serve me. And who I was is completely based off the facts that I have. And when does it get illogical for me to say that, deep down I'm a lazy person when I've just got bucket loads of proof to show the contrary? But I was still calling myself a lazy person deep down.
This man's the furthest thing from a lazy person. Who gets up? He gets up at 4:00. 4:00 in the morning tomorrow morning to go and run 36 kilometers. Like, it's not exactly standard lazy person procedure.
I know, and me now reflects on that and thinks that's just delusional. But back then, I mean, we're the easiest people to trick ourselves.
100%. I completely agree.
And like, what are those negative things that you speak about? Like, what are the stories you tell yourself? Like,
100%. I think, like, people think that yes, there is a point where I understand, like, people perception of us can affect us, but at the end of the day, we are our biggest enemy because we allow these thoughts to have some impact on us. You're like, oh yeah, like you said, imposter syndrome. You're like, oh fuck, I'm lazy or whatever. But now that you're talking about mental health, how do you think that doing this right now, doing this podcast, is helping you guys in terms of mental health? Because this is something that I feel is very important nowadays. When I was young, for example, nobody knew about what was mental health, what was anxiety, what was depression, imposter syndrome. Nobody knew what it was. But obviously, over the years, when I traveled, I discovered all of this. And I think it's always a work in progress. But maybe with or without the podcast, how do you think, like, your mental health is at the moment? And what are you is there somehow, let's say, in the podcast that you're trying to help people with their mental health as well?
Yeah, I think so. I think, like, everybody has mental health, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. So I think even for ourselves, what we're doing on the podcast and just speaking about ideas helps us get things off our chest and get things out of our head. And that is a good practice for a better mental state. So I think it's not specifically targeted at improving mental health or anything like that, but I know personally, just speaking about those things and actually sitting down, you don't have a choice on a Saturday or Sunday to delve into an hour and 50 minutes to speak about what you're feeling at that time is definitely an advantage, you know. I think it's definitely a good practice to do if you can do it with a
100%.
good friend or whatever. But yeah, absolutely. Like I suppose just trying to I think we're trying to be as vulnerable as possible and as open as possible on the podcast to kind of show that these things can be spoken about in an interesting way, is the way I see it. But yeah, definitely. I think in Dubai, like there's not enough spoken about how people feel because I think there's not enough connection there for people to speak about them.
Yep.
Um,
I agree.
and like I know if Brian wasn't here, I would have known to speak about what's going through my head or what I'm feeling at that time. So yeah, I think definitely just speaking about those things is helping ourselves. I suppose I hope anyone that does listen kind of feels that they can open up to ourselves, or they can come down and meet us on a Saturday morning and speak about whatever's on the mind as well. That's definitely how I see it anyway.
Yeah, like I think the first step for me, I'm going to talk about my personal opinion and experience, is understanding that these thoughts, these emotions, they come and go, like taking the locus of control internally. I dictate how I feel based on my perception of events. Nothing is intrinsically good or bad. You know, an event isn't bad. It's how I perceive it. What are these thoughts that are coming into my head? How did they serve me? How did they not? The first step is awareness. And for me, that came from meditation. So every day, just taking time to myself, 10 or 15 minutes, if that's breath work, if that's guided meditation, if that's just sitting with your own thoughts, if that's going for a walk. Meditation has no specific term, no specific definition. It's whatever you make it. And the instant reward from meditation isn't instantly seen. It mightn't be seen after a month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months. The first few weeks is just trying to tell yourself, just quiet down your mind and focus at the task at hand. And then you become more conscious of the thoughts, the feelings, the emotions that enter your head as a result of that, consistently doing that. It's been a year and a half now, and I've definitely noticed improvements. If I feel an emotion, if I feel a thought, it's like, okay, what is that? I notice it. Okay, does that serve me? Is that something I need right now? If not, okay, I'll just file that away. It's not important. I don't need it now. If it's something I need to work into, I might journal it. I might speak to Liam about it. It's just being conscious about it, aware about it, and then vulnerable and open enough to speak about it. Because my stereotypical definition of masculinity would have been, you know, a strong, stern man, quiet, silent, doesn't speak about his emotion. But the definition of masculinity is the truest form of yourself. And for me, the truest form of myself is just speaking my truth, speaking how I'm feeling, connecting with others, just saying what I'm thinking, saying what I'm feeling. And then it's up to everybody else to perceive that. I speak my truth, I speak how I feel, and it's up to other people to perceive that how they wish. And for me, that just gets everything off my chest. It helps me deal with whatever I'm going through. And that's been the journey for me, to be honest. And it's so important because people can go into negative spirals of overthinking. And overthinking is just thoughts that you just keep thinking about.
Yeah.
Like you can't think your way out of a problem. It's just, there's no way to get around it. What got you there was thinking. I don't think thinking is going to get you out of that problem.
I'm guilty.
But the first step is just being aware and just speaking about it. There's nothing romantic about it. There's nothing deep. There's nothing complicated about it. It's really that easy. Having people to confide in is a different story. Having people that you can trust is difficult, especially in a big city. And that's, as Liam spoke about, is why we set up the Run Club, just to create a space.
Yeah, absolutely. Like moving in with Brian and you've definitely been more open than me. I'm not going to say always, don't want to put words in your mouth, but even when I went over to your house at Christmas, like it's just such an open environment. And living with Brian has kind of provided that environment for me to kind of allow myself. It's not that I've been closed off or anything, but it just allows yourself time to think. And Brian says what he feels, and then you kind of give your opinion or whatever, and you find yourself just naturally opening up more. And for me, that's been so rewarding, and the kind of sense of personal achievement afterwards. Like, oh, I can feel myself getting to know myself better because I'm speaking what I'm thinking. And as Brian is saying, like that's the real reason behind the Run Club, is we just want to be able to provide kind of that environment, that space for other people to come down and speak exactly what they're feeling, speak their truth, get to know everyone around with no facade and none of the Dubai bullshit that you see everywhere else in Dubai, that you're going to get in a bar or a beach club. Like, just a space to come down, speak how you feel, mull over thoughts. If you have any problems that you're trying to figure out, bounce them around, get some ideas. Yeah, just trying to provide that space and that openness for other people to kind of experience what I've experienced from living with Brian. And I know you're kind of in the same opinion of that. Like,
Well, I love it because I've listened to your 4 latest episode and it was deep, like deep, and I liked it because it felt like almost a reality check. I think for me personally, it was like these episode was the most unfiltered episode. Now I'm not saying in the others you're not, you are, but it was like mask off. This is it. This is the reality. This is how we're feeling. And I just loved it. Like I could relate on a lot of things that you guys were talking about, and I truly enjoyed that. Um, moving on to what you mentioned, the Run Club. So tell me, when did the Run Club start?
It started just after Christmas. It started in January. Just me and Liam just going down to Kite Beach on a Saturday morning, going for a run. The way it started and the reason as to why it is now is two completely different things.
completely transformed.
And there was a lot of ego involved with why we set it up. You know, it was kind of like speak to like-minded people. You know, we could speak about the ideas from the podcast. But like after a few weeks, or when it just took off one week, it just absolutely took off. And we were just sitting back and we were just like, I don't think we understand what we made here. Like, it's not about the runs. It's not about running your 5K in under 20 minutes. It's not about, speaking to like-minded people, whatever that means.
It's the complete opposite.
It's the complete opposite. It's just, as Liam said, no agendas. We don't expect anything here. Again, it goes back to the reason as to why personally I started the Playbook, is trying to solve a problem, trying to provide something that I didn't have, connection with others. So instead of me sitting back and being like, oh, Dubai is so lonely, I can't meet anybody, I'll just create something myself here. Okay. And I'm blessed to have Liam with me to do that, because it just grew. Like we've over 120 members in the group now, and 140 and it took us by surprise. And as Liam said, we've no agendas. There's no price to entry. It's really low barrier to entry. Like if you're running 30 kilometers like I was with somebody last week, so be it. If you're running 5-minute kilometers, so be it. You won't be left alone.
The run's just an excuse to get a coffee and a conversation at the end, but really, like, it's to go and get the body moving early on a Saturday morning. And as Brian said, the complete egotistical way to start. Like, we can go down here, speak to like-minded people, like, get information off them, get advice. And then I don't know when it was, maybe just from speaking to people from completely different backgrounds, doing completely different things in Dubai, just like, this is so much more fulfilling than speaking to some business CEO or whatever this could ever be. Because you go down on a Saturday morning, it's a complete switch off from absolutely everything else. Like, it's a switch off from the podcast, it's a switch off from the job, everything. You just go down there with a blank canvas and you start a conversation with someone, and God only knows where it could go, I think that's so refreshing. You see the people that are coming week after week after week, just opening up more, getting closer with everybody. The conversation gets more interesting every single week. And just as we were saying today, like, every Saturday is like a new experience. You go down not knowing what to expect, or who could be there, or a new member there that you haven't spoken to before. Which it's the highlight of my week every week.
100%.
Up fresh Saturday morning, coffee, run, conversation where you don't have any idea where it could go. It's just refreshing is how I would define it.
Yeah. Just creating that space, I suppose. Like, And then the run definitely helps. Like even this morning, I woke up in a bit of a bad mood. I just didn't feel, or I felt a bit kind of needed to brush the cobwebs off. After the run, I was like, okay, I feel fresh. And when you're running, like, and you're running beside somebody, the conversation just flows. Like, I mean, like you're so kind of, you're just doing the monotonous, just like running, that like you're not really kind of have those barriers in your head about what you're saying.
You're not thinking about what to speak about. Like,
Yeah.
just
You don't care if
words
it's
just come out.
Yeah.
That can be a good or a bad thing. No, but absolutely. Like, you could be running beside someone you've never spoken to before, and by the time you get back in half an hour or 35 minutes or whatever, you nearly know their life story. You know, you sit down, have a coffee with them then, and get further into conversation or whatever. But like, I was speaking to a guy this morning, and I could tell you everything about his next 6 months just after a 35-minute run, you know? And it's just so nice to get a snippet into someone else's life that you would never normally do. I found here in Dubai, me personally, just everybody's just on their own track, doing their own thing.
Yeah.
You walk past 1,000 people a day and you might never speak to one. So being able to just meet a random person and have a random conversation with them, class.
I do enjoy the run too, I'm not gonna lie. Even though everybody was trying to brave the floods because it was raining this week and the roads are flooded, but we all made it for the run. And it was really nice to see that despite the consequences of traffic and all, there's still people who showed up, and it was just really nice. I personally enjoy it so much because, like, you start running. I remember the first time I came, I had my headphones on, and then you came to me and you're like, why you have your headphones on? I'm like, I don't know, maybe you guys will go in front and I'll be alone. And then you're like, no, it's not, that's not how it works here. And I just enjoy that because usually I don't like running. I just like the aftermath, like, you know,
Feeling,
the
yeah.
feeling when you're done running. That's what I enjoy the most. But the process of going through the run, I feel it's painful, mainly when it's hot. But the fact that you start running and then you start chatting to someone, it's just so nice because then you don't even feel the kilometers. Like, I remember the first time we were running, and then just like that, it was like already 5 kilometers. Like, oh, wow, almost done. That's great. Even this morning, it was super warm, but still, like, at some point, I remember I stopped because I was like really tired. But the girl that was running with me, she also stopped, and we kept talking, and the conversation was just flowing. And it's just nice to be able to just talk about anything and everything with someone. And it feels like it's someone that I met recently, but you can still have that nice conversation as if it was your best friend. Like,
And I think, yeah, we're just really trying to kind of establish that's the environment that's there. You know, because you see, there is however many run clubs in Dubai and however many
100%.
run clubs meet at Kite Beach on a Saturday morning, and they're all there, headphones on, electrolytes
Yeah,
in, geared up, ready to go,
exactly.
and they take off, and we just come jogging by, having a conversation, having a chat, like, and that is what it is about. Like, couldn't care. Don't do the run if you don't want to. Come down and have a coffee.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, that's what it's all about for us.
And I think that's one thing that I really like, because you are giving that community feel. Like you said, a lot of run clubs, 3/4 of them, they have their headphones on. So you basically feel lonely when you're supposed to be creating a community. But what I like with yours particularly is that you have that someone, there will always be someone by your side
Yeah, no one
running,
runs
you know,
alone, yeah.
it's really rare. And I know, for example, even today, Brian was asking, there was someone with us. It's like, oh, is he alone? And I was like, there's someone with him. Otherwise, he would have gone to him to run back all the way to where we grabbed coffee. But I just really like the environment, and it's also open to any kind of nationality, people from all around the world, which I think is also beautiful.
Yeah.
Because obviously, first, eventually you will target a little bit more like Irish people because you're both from Ireland, but over the weeks or the weekend, you see people from different part of the world. Who was there? There was someone from Colombia.
There was so many,
People
like
from
Guatemala.
everywhere,
It's
yeah.
just so nice. Like, can you imagine that? Like, you guys have basically connected a whole world together in one run and coffee. Like,
Yeah.
it's crazy when you think about it.
Yeah, like when you were speaking there, like it it resonates with me because it's kind of like a mini picture of Dubai. Like, I mean, a run by yourself. There's a start point, there's an end point. Somebody's journey in Dubai, the start point and the end point. They're running by themselves, but everybody else is running. Everybody else is going through the same issues you're going through in Dubai, but everyone's by themselves, doing the journey by themselves, doing the run by themselves. Nobody's speaking about it because everyone's got their headphones in. They're going through the same issues. They're having the same obstacles, have the same good times. Nobody seems to talk about it. But when you're running with somebody else, when you're running with a group, you don't have headphones on. You're all talking about the journey, how it's feeling, how you're feeling. You still get to the same destination. How it feels is completely different. The two things are the exact same. Same amount of calories burned, same journey reached, same destination.
100%.
Yeah, one of them, your 5 kilometers goes like that, and the other one.
And it's how you feel on the way. And if that's your experience in Dubai, if you're running by yourself at the moment, if it feels difficult, more difficult than it should feel, if you feel lonely, if you feel alone, if it feels like the problems that you're facing are problems specific to you, they're not. That's the revelation I had. I thought the problems specifically to me were the problems that I was only facing. Nobody else was facing them. Little that I know, all these other people were facing, nobody was speaking about it. But if you are feeling like that, then you know where to come. You know where to find us.
100%. And I think it's really the Run Club is a good picture of you both, your relationship, because you've got each other. And I feel like the fact that you create that community and then you actually, it's everybody has someone by their side. It's a good picture of what you both are all about. So it's really nice. And I just want to say congrats, guys, because I know it's not easy sometimes, but I must say it's a beautiful, beautiful job what you guys are doing here in Dubai. And yeah, just take the opportunity to thank you guys for doing this.
Thank you, Lamia.
And guys, if you're looking for a 5 kilometers run and a coffee, come join us on a Saturday. More details will be in the link below. But we move on to the next questions.
Are these the juicy ones?
No, not yet, not yet. Almost. We're reaching there. We're still warming up. I wanted to ask you, what is the most memorable day from either the Run Club or the podcast that really marked you? If you had to choose one day.
Oh, sorry.
I think we're both going to say the same one here.
Oh, you go first. I'll pick something different.
No, I don't mean that in a way that you have to pick something different.
Yeah,
we can both speak about the same thing. It wasn't really a specific moment, but it was kind of like a day or two. Like, I think it was like 4 weeks ago when we had that revelation, when we had a load of people there, and I got into the car and I just turned to Liam. I was just buzzing. Like, I was just absolutely buzzing. Like, I was just elated. I was just like, I feel so good here. Like if I could bottle this emotion and sell it, I swear. Like, the whole day I felt unbelievable. Then the next day we spoke about like, okay, what are we actually creating here? Do we need to define to all the new members what we're actually doing here, what this space is providing? Because what we started for and what it is now are two completely different reasons. And we spoke about what we think it is now and what it will be for its future. And like, I was so thankful that we were both on the exact same page, like so grateful. Because it's difficult sometimes if you're setting up something with somebody else and you both have a different vision of where it's going to go. Like, I was so grateful that it wasn't like a case where Liam would be like, oh, like, let's like subscription base it, like let's like upsell them, like it's just a funnel into like our pyramid scheme of like upselling electrolytes or whatever. It was the exact same with me, and I was so grateful, so thankful, and yeah, I was just, yeah, it's a moment that stuck with me, and a moment that will stick with me for how I felt at that time.
100%. I couldn't agree more. I think that week, there was literally a week, like 4 or 5 days. It was just before we released the first of like the three the 3 deep episodes of the podcast. We were really, as Brian said, it was like an internal crisis
of the highest order. It put me into a tailspin.
What the fuck
with
am
some
I
of
doing
those.
here?
With some of those, yeah.
Because we finished up, and I had literally said to Brian, because I had noticed that we spoke about this on our own podcast. Like, I had spoke to Brian, and noticed that like the difference between Brian after the run on a Saturday morning or during the run on a Saturday morning and Brian after getting a contract signed for a big deal were two completely different people. And I was like, do you see that? And he was like, yeah, I think so. He's like, yeah, like the buzz I get after closing a deal is just like filthy, like serotonin hit,
Dopamine,
dopamine hit. And then on a Saturday is genuinely just the fulfillment, like happiness. And I was like, yeah, like the person I see in a Saturday is the truest form of how I perceive Brian to be. And I think that kind of put him into a bit of a tizzy then.
Still here, man.
For about a week.
Still here.
And that's really where kind of the questions came from, where the 3 episodes in the podcast came from, being like, okay, fuck, like, what are our values and what are we doing to be true to our values? What do we need to be doing? Is what we're doing at the moment aligning with the purpose and with who we want to be? And that was the real question that kind of set us off. But I think, as you said, it's a revelation more than anything else. But yeah, that's 100% the most memorable moment from it. And if nothing else comes from the podcast, from the Run Club, from anything, that's a change in perspective that, yeah, I'll always be grateful for having, you know.
Yeah, that breakthrough, like, and biggest breakthrough I've had in the
It's
last.
like taking a
few months.
blindfold off.
Yeah, I was just like stepping back, because like sometimes you can be so close to the painting that you can't see anything.
100%.
You take a step back, and you're like, okay, this makes sense. Because yeah, I could tell the difference myself between serotonin Brian and dopamine Brian. Dopamine Brian was the guy who closed the deal. Serotonin was warm after a Sunday run or Saturday run. And for so long, the thing that had gotten me to that point wasn't the thing that was going to get me the rest of the way. And what I mean by that was, when I got that chance to take a step back from the painting after the conversations we had after the run club, it's just like, am I actually going in the right direction here? You know, am I just completely blinded by my fears and insecurities and what has driven me so far to where I am now, that I was just aiming in the wrong direction completely? I was just going down a different road. And only when I've just got the blindfold taken off, as Liam said, where am I? Is this the destination that I'm meant to be? Or was I just propelled by what was driving me? Because everybody has those things, something that you're running away from and something that you're running towards. And the thing that I was running away from was so much more powerful than the thing that I was running towards. I wasn't clear on what I was running towards. I was just using that as fuel to just jet me forward.
In any direction.
In any direction.
Just away.
just away from financial insecurity, or away from opposite role models, or what my life, I knew what I wanted my life not to look like, just based on my experiences and the people that I've dealt with in the past and the jobs that I've had. I knew what it didn't want to look like. I didn't know what I wanted it to look like. So after I got through a period of just like getting some sort of a vision of what my life would look like if I just kept going down this path, because I finally got some sense of financial security, I was like, I don't want that. I do not want that. So it put me into a bit of a tailspin, and we spoke it through the episodes, and yeah, I've gotten clearer on that.
That's good.
Absolutely, yeah. And so lucky to kind of have that now, that clarity now, because people could go 25 years, 30 years and have that midlife crisis clarity, then be like, fuck, this isn't where I wanted to be. I thought this is what I wanted, and it wasn't. So yeah, I think so lucky to be able to kind of see now, being like, okay, that isn't what I wanted. So time to change direction, turn the steering wheel and go in a different direction. You know.
That's nice. I'm happy to hear that, and it's true. I agree on every point that you guys said. I'm not going to go in details, but anyway.
A good host, just
I'm-
agree
I'm-
with
I'm-
everything.
I'm not going to go in
spoke-
details,
Yeah, I
but
know.
yeah. Anyway, but as much as there's happy moment, there's tough time too. So what would you say would be one of the biggest challenge maybe you had with either podcast or run club? I have an idea, but I'm not going to say it.
Biggest challenge, just with podcast or run club, or just life in general?
You can say both. Well, like in terms of like you creating the podcast, you creating the run club, what would you say? Because let's say if anybody out there who wants to start either a podcast or run club, we've talked about all the positive stuff, but also I want to know, like, what is that challenge that will come across and that you guys may have faced?
I think we're lucky enough the fact we're doing the Run Club and the podcast for the right reason. So I think the challenges that people would normally encounter don't really bother us. Like if you are doing a Run Club and you're doing it because you're trying to set up a business from it, it's okay, well, how do you get these people to contribute or to pay?
Yeah.
And that would be a challenge, but we don't give a shit. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, this is free. We're just trying to give everyone the feeling we're feeling from doing this. So that's not a challenge. We're not trying to make money from the podcast because we're doing it because we enjoy doing it. So I'd say the biggest challenge has to be the editing, and I'm lucky enough not to know anything about it. So
I have a clue who does the editing of all the episodes, because he helped me. But
you're welcome. You're welcome. I was about to say what you were going to say, man. Like, I was about to say that, like, challenges are specific to what your definition of them are. So, like, somebody could look at our Run Club or look at our podcast and be like, okay, look, these are all the challenges these two things are facing. In our reality, zero of those things are challenges because we don't give them the power. Like, you could look at our podcast and be like, the upward trend isn't it where it needs to be. They're not like turning over enough people on. It doesn't matter. We don't look at the views. You could look at the Run Club. Like 2 weeks ago, like, I carried buckets of seawater to ice baths for like an hour and couldn't get them cold enough. Is it a challenge? No, I don't perceive it to be, because it doesn't make or break me. It doesn't, line my pockets if I get the ice bath set up. Do you know what I mean? Like, if nobody turns up, so be it. If everybody turns up, okay. Like, your challenges or your perception of events and our perception of events, or why the reason we started is, it's not for financial reasons. It's not for where it's going to get us. So, like, the challenges we face just could be challenges to other people, but they just aren't.
His biggest challenge is getting me out of bed on a Saturday morning. That's about the height of it.
Yeah, this morning, 15 minutes before.
I'm not setting an alarm, no.
No, yeah. But again, yeah. Like, just, yeah.
That's it. Like, if you're encountered with all the challenges and nothing went right from a business point of view, it wouldn't be feasible. But if we get 0 listens and we get 0 people showing up to the Run Club, it literally does not impact our day at all. We still get to have our run, get to have our conversation, get to have our coffee, go to the podcast, no one's listening, doesn't matter. We still get to have that hour-long conversation about what we want to speak about. So it makes no difference.
Yeah, and you're learning on the way. Like, a challenge when we initially started the podcast was like setting up the equipment, knowing what that is, like it breaking, like not working properly, like
buying mics 3 times,
buying the wrong mics, whatever. Like, but you're just paying down that ignorance debt.
Yeah.
And like, it's the same with you with editing. Like, you know how to edit now. Like, you know how to formulate a conversation. You're just paying it down. You're not expecting anything in return. But if all we learn about is how to set up a Run Club, how to get a community, how to get people together, how to create something, how to edit, how to publish it online, and then that's enough.
It's invaluable. Like that, I think that those skills and those things you pick up along the way, as I was saying, like, that's where I like to move countries, move jobs, do whatever you can, because you pick up things like that. I didn't think a year ago I'd be setting up a podcast and a Run Club, like, but they're just random things you pick up along the way,
100%.
and there are skills in the bank that nobody can take away from you, no matter what you have in your pocket money wise. Like, you've always got those in the bank, from the time you've put in. So challenges,
Yeah.
So now I have a challenge for you guys. It's not a challenge. I'm
game show now.
It's my favorite part of the podcast.
No, I'm nervous now.
I've been doing this to all my guests ever since I started, like, visual podcast, and I love it so much. Sorry. So we're gonna do the rapid fire question. Some of them are deep, some of them are not too deep, but basically the aim is for you to answer without thinking too much. Clear?
Are you able to do that?
I don't think
I mean, not thinking too
certainly
much,
can.
but like, you've got to answer pretty much. That's why it's called rapid fire question.
Yeah, I never think before I open my mouth. So.
Yeah,
But it still
you
needs
don't
to
want to
resonate.
unlock this door. You don't want to look
Pandora's
down
box.
this door, folks.
But it still needs to resonate with you.
Okay.
mainly on the deep ones, okay? Because basically, and you both will have to answer individually. So I'll ask a question.
Write them down on the whiteboard and flip
You
it
give
over.
you give your answer. Liam gives an answer.
Okay.
Well, he's going to have time to think about it when I'm answering.
Okay,
Oh,
then
come
ask me
on.
first because I don't think about
Oh
anything I
boy.
say.
Okay.
It's got me in a
Okay,
lot of
we'll
trouble.
start with a very easy going one. What is the one song that relates to you right
Shit,
now?
I have to think about that one though.
Right now.
Relates to me.
I said, don't think too much.
I literally hit shuffle on my songs and just whatever. Right now, that relates to me.
Or like that one
Um,
song that give you the buzz, like
That song that
Nick Mulvey.
hmm?
The Nick Mulvey song.
Nick Mulvey one the other day. Yeah, absolutely. Brian had a go at me. He gets more in touch with his emotions and starts listening to indie music.
So I didn't have a go at you. I was just like, when you start looking introspectively and being more aware of your emotions, do you shift from rap to indie? Because like he used to be like a lot of rap, and I used to be very indie, but I used to be rap as well, and sometimes I still am in the gym. But he started recently listening to kind of like more like whatever, and I was just like, my hypothesis. The link between listening to indie music and your ability to look introspectively, like my hypothesis. I'll test it out. I still need to.
I
look
listen to
into that
indie
one.
music and go out to the grass and earth myself.
Connect to the motherboard.
That's how you ground yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what we were saying. There's no natural ground around here. So when you go out and you take your shoes off and you're in the grass, you hook up to the Dubai motherboard.
Start singing.
This is how you picture Brian listening to freaking indie music.
What I said.
No.
Okay, inside joke. Doesn't it?
We'll let you know afterwards.
Okay,
Yeah,
you
good
go.
one. No, what's that Nick
You
Mulvey
just-
song called?
I forget the name of it.
I
I mean, it's like his
get
only
it.
popular one.
I get it while you're answering yours.
I was going to say that one.
Oh,
Oh,
it's my song.
okay.
Get your own
That's
song.
the one I keep listening to. Or Mariella.
I don't know any of them.
Yeah, it's like a chill song. It's pretty cool.
Fever to the Form.
Yeah.
Fever to the Form, Nick Mulvey.
And the
Okay.
Mariella by Karub Bagbin or something. I
The
don't know.
plug. Okay, that was
Guys,
that
if
was
you're
more
interested
difficult
to
than we
know
thought.
about indie music, you'll have their Instagram link. You just DM them and they'll give you all their playlists.
Ask Brian. I only listen to rap.
So, next question. If you could travel back in time, which era would you visit?
Anywhere, like back in time.
Back in time.
Throw me with the Romans
Okay.
all day.
Oh, yeah, actually.
See 6 men fighting a lion. I'm all there for that.
Oh, yeah, I was going to, yeah. Yeah, you say that was a good one. Oh, yeah, I would go back to ancient Greece, back to the Stoic philosophers.
Oh,
Have a
nice.
chat with Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, the lads.
Run a business model past them.
I'd a bone to pick with you guys.
Yeah, that's a good one too. I enjoyed that one.
What is your favorite quote?
Same piss, different pants. It's become more literal,
Oh
apparently.
yeah, you're not allowed to think about it. God, the only quote that I am thinking of recently: "The man who loves walking walks further than the man who loves the destination."
Mine was it's kind of the same. Just as deep.
Okay. If you had 6 months to live, what would be in your bucket list?
How many things are we saying?
As quick as you
Pull a
can.
full bucket list out of my
Like
pocket
the
now.
most important thing. Like what would you do? But you only have 6 months to live.
Drive a Porsche on the Nürburgring. Jump out of a plane. Skydiving, obviously. Spend time with family. Trip to Bali. That's the top of my head.
Yeah, I don't really have a bucket list.
So you wouldn't do anything? You just continue.
Grab a coffee, read a book, surround myself with good people. Now, like my bucket list is like things I'm going to be doing anyway, so it's not really a bucket list. Like if I feel so inclined to do something, I feel like I'll go do it.
But like, let's say if you were told you've got 6 months to live,
Something crazy.
like what is the thing that you didn't do that you want to do within that 6 months?
Might have a coffee after 2:30.
Oh, crazy.
Crazy from me. Crazy. I'd have an extra portion of extra portion of dinner. Reading extra books. Stay up half an hour past my bedtime.
Okay.
These are all crazy things for Brian, to be fair.
Fair. Fair.
You've got
I mean,
6
it's
months
your
to live.
6 months.
Woo,
Joke.
stay
It's
up
your
till
6
half 10.
months.
I'm
So
joking. Yeah, I'd probably go traveling. I'd 100% go traveling the world. I would go to Austin, go to Sydney, go to Bali. Those places just speak to me. For some reason, like, there's something in there that I'm interested in. Yeah, just travel the world, see as many things and people as I can, potentially do it with my family. But yeah,
okay. What is the one thing you're grateful for today?
Brian.
Oh, that's sweet. Sorry, I laughed, but that's sweet. I was not expecting that.
what if I don't say Liam?
Yeah, it's going to be awkward.
Liam. I say Liam.
Yeah, good people. Meeting good people over here.
What is that one thing that Brian doesn't know about you that he would be shocked to know, and vice versa?
You don't know about me.
I know everything about you.
Literally.
Like one thing, you're a dark side or something.
That's the part he likes. Let me think about my bright side. One thing he doesn't know about. Say you go. I'll try to think.
I took 2 of your bananas in the last 24 hours.
I knew there was 2 missing.
Sorry, man.
It's okay. I took 2 of his.
Ah.
No, I do not think there's a single thing you don't know.
And you, Brian? Is there anything that you think you didn't tell Liam? Or that Liam doesn't know about you, rather?
I'm your brother.
Dun.
No, I've literally told them everything. Like, I mean, just to the fine details. Like, yeah.
My left foot's the size bigger
outside
than
of my actual family, like, he definitely knows the most about my life. Like,
Okay. All
He
right.
probably knows the most about mine, even inside my family. He knows more about me than I do.
I have one more question that is a bit deep, but we'll keep that for the last one just
Okay.
before I close. But now it's rapid fire question, very easy, very just go with the flow. Beach or mountains?
Mountains,
beach,
Tea or coffee?
coffee,
coffee.
Sunrise, or sunset?
Ooh.
sunrise.
Yeah, sunrise.
Bali or Thailand?
I haven't been to Bali.
I haven't been either.
If you had to choose.
Bali, because I've been to Thailand.
Negroni or Aperol Spritz?
Negroni all day.
Negroni,
Go for one
yeah.
after this.
2 o'clock.
Sweet or savory breakfast?
Savoury.
Savory. Well, I don't know. My oats are getting more and more sweet as the days go on. So they're technically.
Which
gonna
your
be
first,
sweet.
second, or third bowl of them?
Well, there's 3 today, so probably my first.
All right. Now, my last question to you both is that's individually again. You can't answer it for each other, please. If you had one advice to give to your younger self, which one would it be and why?
Don't be such a little prick. It's a little arsehole. No, to everyone. No, what advice to give my younger self? I think relax a bit. Everyone will be fine. If I get any more relaxed, I'd be horizontal. But just I think don't be stressing. Tell them don't stress. Chill out. Everyone will work out. Do you know what I mean? What's meant to be will be. Brian will give out about that one, but what's meant to be will be. Yeah, I think so. Like, I think we definitely, when I was young, you worry about such stupid things because they're made out to be the big deal at the time. Whether it's your junior cert, your leaving cert, what college you go to, what you get in your degree, like as minimal as they are in the grand scheme of things. Like, just do what you can do your best, and don't stress it too much. I think.
What advice would I give my younger self? Yeah, it's going to be okay. Things are going to work out. Just because things are the way they are now doesn't mean they always will be. Don't be so hard on yourself. Why are you so hard on yourself? You wouldn't be as hard on your friends or your families the way you are to yourself. Don't speak to yourself like that. It's up to you to determine how your life goes. It's not up to chance whether you walk around a corner and you be successful. It's not up to chance if you walk around a corner and you're hit with mental illness or you're out of shape. It's completely up to you. Like, the world is in your hands. And I'm not saying that to scare you, but I'm saying that to give you some motivation and taking that locus of control internally. And it's up to you. And yeah, just enjoy the next few years. You don't have to act so old, because you don't want to rob yourself of your youth. Yeah, I think that's what I say.
You tell yourself that now, buddy.
That's nice. That's
Literally,
really-
man. The things you would tell your younger self are the things you need to tell yourself now.
100%. Well, guys, thank you. That was
Thank you.
lovely.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
Really
for your
enjoyed
time.
that.
Any last words before I end? Where can we find you? Instagram.
You find us,
YouTube.
at the Playbooks. And then we've got our PB Run Club, as it's known. The link to WhatsApp is there. And it's the Playbooks on Spotify and YouTube. Massive thank you, Lamy.
Thank you
I
very much.
really enjoyed this, the space that you've created. And
Thank you guys for
Yeah.
your time.
No problem at all. I actually thought of a fact about you that I never thought you said. One that
Cool.
you don't know.
Go
Go on.
on.
He doesn't know that I know he carries a sock around in his pocket everywhere he goes. I know, Brian. Lammy, he has a problem, and I know about it.
I'm not even going to wrap
Revelation
this
mic
up.
drop.
Wrap this up.
Brian, the sock
There's
flag.
a story
I know,
behind that sock.
I know.
There's a story behind that sock. I have no idea how that sock got into my
Ah,
pocket.
the
Uh-huh.
old
Just
I don't know
before-
how it got
Just
there.
before
trick.
we sat down for this episode, I was like, man, there's a sock in my pocket. And he's just after outing me here now in front of everybody. I can't believe you've done that to me.
It's been in there for a good 4 months.
I hope they're clean.
I'm not sniffing it.
One way to find out.
Lamia, thank you for having us.
Thank you for having
Thank
us
you
on.
guys. I'll put down in the description all the links so you can click and follow them. Listen to their podcast. Join the Run Club, guys. I'm also there every Saturday. So it'd be nice to meet up all together, grab coffee, sweat together, and have a nice chat.
Oh.
So anyway, guys, I'm gonna love you and leave you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.